You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is episode 478, our coverage of the episode Entombed, which is season 2 of The Bad Batch. And there's been a lot of talk about this episode already, a lot of good comments, a lot of bad comments, and I've not even spoken to Jonesy about this episode, so I don't know where he landed with it. But before we get into all that, I'm going to bring him on. You look a little upset. I don't know if it's because of this episode. It's fine. It was actually, no, I'm kidding. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Actually, I liked the episode, actually. That's just me.
I was worried because you were real quiet when it came out, and I was like, man, I freaking love this episode. And then I went online. I was like, oh, Twitter, wow, you guys are not being nice at all right now. But yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But how you doing tonight?
Doing all right, man. We got actually quite a bit of news tonight, oddly enough. So we should probably jump right into some of this.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Okay, so a couple things. First off, they've announced some of the celebrities that are going to be at Celebration 2023 being held in London. And we got pretty much some people that I would expect on here. Anthony Daniels, it's his hometown, right? Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lantner, D. Bradley Baker. But then we got some folks from some of the TV series. So Giancarlo Esposito, Vivian Blair, who was Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and Adira Varma, who was also in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So what do you think of this so far? I mean, it's just the first wave, right? They do this, they release a couple of them, then they keep getting, like, I'm going to say bigger, which usually is the case. They get bigger and bigger, right, and hopefully drive more ticket sales, but not a shabby start, huh?
No, not bad at all. I mean, it's cool that they're already coming out with like Giancarlo Esposito and some of these others. So, no, I mean, this list is going to get pretty long. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm happy to see Matt Lanter is going to be there though this time around.
Yeah,
because I don't think he was there last time, but yeah, that'd be cool to have him at a celebration.
Yeah, well, he's there. I mean, he would be there for, well, obviously Clone Wars, but then he had maybe he's got a returning role coming. Oh no, that guy died, didn't he?
Oh, the Anakin
No,
guy?
they let him go. The Republic prisoner or security guard.
Oh, he was dead. He's
was he dead?
Oh yeah, he got shot.
Oh, I can't remember. I thought they had lived.
Nope. He did not survive the trek.
How did we not add him to the Patreon list of people that should not have died? And
because you've already forgot about him.
Right. I don't even remember what that he lived or died. Okay, but yes, you're right. It's good to see him back at Celebration in any capacity.
Right.
So good stuff there. Let's see. What else do we got going on? So
Skeleton Crew news?
Yeah, and not official. This was from, well, I mean, I guess it's official. So the second unit director is George J. Cottle. I don't know who he is. However, he is the second unit director for Skeleton Crew. He posted on Instagram that they were done wrapping up. And the only feedback that I saw, again, on that, cesspool of wonderful talk called Twitter, was there was some folks that were saying, wow, they really wrapped this up pretty quickly. And I don't know what to make of that. I would agree. It was probably a quick wrap up, continuing to consider when they started, but I don't know. That really doesn't mean a lot to me these days because of what they can do and, better planning. I think we're probably skewed a little bit because things just took so long for the last 3 years because of COVID and all of that. So,
Yeah, I think this is it's oddly, it's weird. Sometimes shows seem to just go really quickly through their production cycle. And if they're well organized and they're doing all the things, and again, we don't really have a whole lot to go on with this series to begin with about how long it is or anything else. I mean, there's nothing to really worry about because there's no news there's nothing to grab onto. So I'm not going to get upset or get worried about this right now. We'll see what the development looks like as it starts to produce something, visual for us to, consume, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, again, Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
You can have the most horrible production and still crank out a good movie. So
exactly.
It could happen. Let's see.
In news that things that you don't collect, but you actually do collect. Lego came out and announced the 3 new these Lego helmets that you just put together. Your Boba Fett one that's back there in the background, I see.
Yeah. I
they're
showed
gonna
that on
out-
Patreon. But
Yeah, they're going to come out with Cody, Rex, and then Boosh's helmet. So, yeah, there you go. Albert's showing this on camera. Yeah, on the Patreon show, he showed that he finally built the little Lego mini helmet there for Boba Fett. Oh, I didn't realize the antenna moved down. That's cool.
yeah, so you got a little targeting thing goes down.
But,
Yeah,
but Cody and Rex, are kind of must-haves if you're going to start not collecting these.
I see what you're doing.
Mhm.
You're the devil. Like you like push me into this stuff, and now I'm gonna have to buy these. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that.
You can't pin this on me. I'll accept it, but you can't pin this on me.
I think I said on the Patreon show that I was gonna start collecting these. So officially, I bet I do. For the record, I don't collect pins.
Yeah, not
Okay.
Funko Pops either.
And I do not collect Funko Pops. Okay, I just want to make that very clear.
There's a whole list of things you don't collect, I
Yes,
think.
and they're all right here in my. Room,
yeah, they're in plentiful supply.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them there. I don't collect Atari 2600 games. I don't collect.
Well, that
comics.
box art is like classic, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Have you seen the book
actually
that I
have
have?
some-
It's got it.
And I have something for you too. I picked up my box of old cassette tapes and cassette singles for you, by the way.
I'll take those, please, gladly off your hands. Look at this thing real quick. I know this is a show and tell. People are like, "What the hell kind of show is this?" But look at this. This is like full
Yeah, for those
color.
listening, this is the Atari 2600 art collection from cover art of some of the games. The poster collection, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty neat. Does it have like Empire Strikes Back in there?
No.
Well, then it's worthless.
It does not. But I thought it was relevant since we were talking about it. So yeah, Cody, Red, and Boosh.
Rex. I think that was a misspelling on my part.
I was like, I don't know who Red was. Yeah, Rex would make more sense. And you sent me the picture of that too. So I am all in on these. I have to get them. So
Yeah, no, and really cool news, more news here. On Sunday, this coming Sunday, people are going to want to tune into the Patreon show. You go find us over on YouTube. Just search for Cantina Cast. You and Lauren are actually going to host Cole, Rob, and Connor, or also known as Cab, top 3 moments of both season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. So top 3 moments overall to date, which I don't know how you're going to do it, man, because that's a
tall order.
That's a lot of stuff, man, to try to get through and just pick your top 3. You guys are going to have like an hour and a half just dedicated to honorable mentions.
I was going to say that's exactly what we'll do. We'll pick top 3, but then we'll have like 20 honorable mentions each. So it'll turn into a 2-hour show. And the best part about this is I'm not going to edit it. So I don't care. You guys bring as many honorable mentions as you'd like. Jonesy will take care of the editing for us.
All right. So should we give a little teaser about what you, Lauren, and I talked about today for a Patreon episode for Valentine's Day weekend?
Sure, we can go ahead.
I stepped right into this one. I just had this crazy idea and I messaged them today. I'm like, guys, we should do top 3 like shipping moments in Star Wars for Valentine's Day weekend for the Patreon show.
Man, I'm already started my list.
So if you want to be on that show, go check out the Patreon and you can sign up and let us know that you're interested.
It's going to be me, Steph, and Lauren, and that's probably it.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
You're going to have people knocking down the door for that one.
Oh,
I may have to excuse myself. Well, you're going to actually don't want me to be there, I bet.
Because yours is going to be Maz with, and then insert Star Wars character here. Maz
going to
with
be horrible.
Other Star Wars character. Maz with Albert. Maz with, whatever.
Actually, in my defense, Maz and Albert was totally Lauren, not me.
That was Lauren. Yeah, she keeps bringing
not
that
me.
one up.
So I'm training her well, though.
Yeah, no, nicely done, Padawan. We'll watch your career with great interest.
Yeah. Speaking of Lauren, though.
Yeah, she's got a new episode of Jedi Novel Archives out.
Yeah, she does. She reviewed Shadowhunter, which is the Michael Reeves novel that focuses on Darth Maul. And a really good book. Go listen to it. Go watch her and see what she thought of it. She liked it a lot. And then a little spoiler alert, she's actually got another one cooking in the oven here for looking over the Yoda comics, the first 3 issues of the issues that just landed as recently as this past week. So you are not going to want to miss those. They're actually really good. Those are really good issues and a good story. And Lauren did a great job on on recording that content too. So that'll be out soon as well. But go listen to Shadowhunter. It's a really good episode.
Yep.
Good book.
And the book has a great happy ending too. So if you like happy endings, that's the book for you.
Yep. Especially the ones where you cry uncontrollably.
All right. And I think that'll do it for the news. Do we got some Patreon folks with us tonight.
Yeah, we sure do. So special thanks to all of our Patreon folks as usual, especially our now part of the tribe members, Mike, Rob, Lauren, Dante, Risk, Justin, Jackson, Sharkman, Dan, Daz, Isabella, and Uncle Leon. Delusions of Grandeur members as well, Rod, Kathy, and Hard Counter. Thank you all so much for all your continued support. In the live chat tonight, again, if you're listening to this, we do a live stream Sundays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central. And in the chat tonight already, we got Jonathan, Stephanie, JJ Skywalker, Risk Bayless, Lauren, Dale, Qui-Gon, Sky, Music Train, and Rob. Several of those people you will see this coming weekend if you tune into the Patreon show on Sunday night.
I don't know if I even told them, but yeah, Cole, Rob, and Connor, you guys are in. So
yeah,
Jonesy broke the news tonight. You're welcome.
This is why I usually reach out and do all the confirmations with people showing up on the show.
I don't do this. I'm just kind of like, whatever, show up if you want to show up. We'll get you on the air. All right. Thank you guys. No, seriously, thanks everybody for your Patreon support. And we really appreciate it. It's been helping quite a bit here with all of these freaking episodes we're cranking out. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's get into and talk about Entombed. And like I said out of the beginning, I really, really enjoyed this episode. And I get it. There are a lot of people that are upset. And what I would say is, okay, we're still only a fourth of the way through the episodes. You can't say they've all been filler because they have not. We already talked about the first, in my opinion, this is how I rationalize it. Take it for what you will. The first two for me were let's reset everything, or I guess set everything up, get everybody reacquainted with who's who, what are they doing, where are they, that sort of thing. So you get a free pass on that one. The second episode was arguably one of the best episodes ever of this series, right?
Right.
And then we get into this episode, which is not necessarily filler, because I think there are some things that I think people are just grossly overlooking in terms of what this episode did. Even if it is small, there is something important about it. And so I don't understand where all this negativity is coming from. On top of all that, let's just put all that aside. The fact that it was like this massive love letter to Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones. I mean, I can't tell you, like, I was just like, squealing out loud at some of the moments and the music and just so many different aspects of this episode, more than even the first two episodes did. This one really had a lot of deep cuts and references and Easter eggs to Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark specifically.
I swear it was John Williams composing the music because it was
right.
It was lifted like right out of Raiders, and it was just it captured the spirit, the archaeological spirit, the whole Indiana Jones vibe. You're right, and that's why, like in the description, I was like, they finally just dispensed with the pretense,
right?
And it's just the love letter to Indiana Jones. Yeah, I mean, and those are great movies, so why not, right? And I think it kind of fit like the vibe they got. They nailed it.
Yeah,
and it was just fun. I think it was just a fun and interesting episode. We kind of called it on the this being the monster episode as well. A little bit of an interesting fit how that kind of worked, but. Man, it was just enjoyable. It was just fun. I mean, music. I mean, the lighting and the animation and all of that was, of course, top notch as usual. We're going to start taking for granted at some point, but man, just an enjoyable show, I thought.
Yeah. So the other things I would add. Okay, so for the writer, Christopher Yost. So this was his first entry into the Bad Batch series. Prior to that, he had done several Rebels episodes. Doom. Which, if you know that episode, is one of the best ones out there, in my opinion, as well as a number of other ones. Like, he's really kind of cranked out some massive Rebels episodes. But prior to that, I had known him from the Marvel universe. Like, he's been a writer for a lot of different Marvel comics. He's done a lot of Marvel TV series and that sort of thing. So when I saw his name on here, I was pretty excited because I've always enjoyed what he's done. So I really do love the fact that he did what he did. And what was really exciting to me is, I think we all have to realize that, again, this show is primarily aimed for younger audiences. And a lot of times they've not sat there through the Indiana Jones trilogy for whatever reason, right? Either the parents didn't watch it or it's just so old now. It sounds like, I don't know, it sounds blasphemous to think that, but that's the reality. And if I was a 8-year-old, had never seen those movies, and I'm watching this episode with everything going on, yeah, there's a lot of moments in here that are directly from those movies. but it had such a like sense of adventure, a sense of wonder, a sense of intrigue, right? Those three things are like very synonymous with what made the Indiana Jones movies so phenomenal, right? And you got a lot of that here. Now, it just happened to be in the Bad Batch, but I would say the other thing that really stood out for me was this was kind of a Phi and Omega kind of episode, and I don't want to dismiss the fact that we saw a very different Omega in this one. Maybe not different, but another dimension to her, right? The level of adventure, wonder, and intrigue was like different level for her at this point, and she's looking up to Fee. And again, because it's Dave Filoni's storytelling, right? He's not telling the story for 2023. He's telling the story that'll probably happen in 2024 or 3 years from now, or who knows, right? And so I don't want to say that this is exactly where the series is going, but the idea that Omega just becomes at some point, she's so influenced and inspired by somebody like Fee that later on in life, I could see her totally doing something like this. I mean, maybe that's her calling, right? She's found something she's super passionate about, and maybe they cover on that. Maybe they touch on it this series or this season, or maybe it comes up a little bit later, or who knows? But I just really feel like that's kind of what they were doing here, is laying down this groundwork of, wow, this really kindled something in Omega. Where it goes, we'll have to see, but it's definitely started a fire for her.
Well, maybe we'll just continue on that theme and just kind of jump right in with that part of it. I think it was actually a nice callback in parallel to the first season with Omega and how she mimicked Hunter, right? When they first land on the planet and she's checking the branches out of the, everything of course is decimated around them, but she's imitating the behaviors. They both have their feet up on the console. She's just that imitation, right? This form of flattery, this form of admiration. She's grasped onto someone. But again, this goes back to, this is Omega coming into adolescence a little bit too, and finding someone else besides dad and her brothers,
right?
That she interacts with and that she looks up to, and that she wants to, that she kind of wants to be when she grows up. To your point, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just another step in that growth for her, in that just the development, because this is what we all do. We find someone that we just get kind of infatuated with on some type of level, right? And say that, wow, I just want to be like them, right? I want to be, I want to be, a quarterback in the NFL, or I want to be, a policeman, or I want to be an archaeologist like Indiana Jones, or whatever it is, and you have someone who just has all these amazing stories and it feels larger than life right in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're just in awe, you're just wowed, right? And it's just an exciting thing for a young person. Again, it's a different type of exposure that she's not had for treasure hunting.
Ever. Right.
Yeah, and this idea of treasure keeps coming up. It's come up a few times, and they're hunting for it. And now she's like, wow, we have a chance to go and find real treasure, like a real treasure hunt. How cool is that? And so I think it's just development for her character. It's just like, it's the progression. And the cool thing about having 16 episodes, and this is a bit to the contrary, maybe some people's, problems with this episode, is that these are the moments you get. These are the things that you get with that growth, and you get different dimensions of the characters that you spend a lot of time with.
Yep.
And that's all right. And they're not filler. There's a different type of development, and we'll see if anything comes of this episode. I mean, and there might not be a whole lot that comes from it. But I just like that you have Fee. We get a little bit of Fee too, and you get this larger than life character. All of these stories, they can't be real, because she embellishes them. She changes the story all the time. But Omega's just in awe. She's just awestruck, with all of these stories. Even I think Omega probably realizes they're a little exaggerated.
Sure, but
there's still a lot of truth,
okay.
There's still a lot of truth in legends, right?
Right. As we saw in this episode, yeah.
Exactly. So it's just a lot of fun for her. I like seeing that part of Omega come through.
Okay, so before we get into like the step-by-step breakdown, I got one thing I need to get off my chest. Who the heck decided to put a skip intro on the Bad Batch? Like, if you ever press the skip intro, you save like half a second, and I don't.
It's so far down into the show. Like, let me skip all the other stuff. Yeah.
Like, stick it at the very beginning right when I hit play, skip intro. I
Right.
I gain nothing for that half a second that you give me there. So thanks, Disney Plus. Okay, now that I got that off my chest. All right, let's talk about.
I hope you feel better now. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I do feel a lot better now. Let's talk about the breakdown. It opens with Omega and Wrecker, which I think we've talked about this. I really enjoy like their relationship. We talked about it in the first two episodes. And sorry, Gary's on with us, and I said, "Oh my God, I said this yesterday. Saved me 3 points." Okay, so maybe I was exaggerating, 3.1 seconds is what you save when you click skip the intro. So still not a lot. But so Omega and Wrecker together, I like all this. I like their interaction. It's like two kids. It's almost like the same like mental age, honestly, if you think about
I
it.
like that she still keeps that youthful enthusiasm with him.
And he's
that
still like, he's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and you still get that twinkle kind of in his eye.
Yeah.
His only good eye, I guess.
Which I think bodes well for my Wrecker will die this season theory.
Oh, gosh.
But we'll see. Because we're gonna remember these moments and just really rip our hearts out there. We get introduced to Fee a little bit more. Again, this was very Fee-centric. We got to learn a lot about her, including her droid, Mel, who, when he died quote, died at the end before he had the IG-88. What would you call that?
The memory backup or whatever. The fail-safe plan.
Fail-safe plan. There you go. BCDR plan. Business continuity disaster recovery plan. But yeah, anyway, so we get to see Mel, her droid. It's always funny. They always say the names of the droids, and then later on we learn like the full name. It's like, ML629 or whatever, but it goes by Mel. She throws out this Kaldar trinary system and says that the best kind of treasure isn't on the map. I couldn't help but think of Camino, right? That whole scene about, Camino's not on the maps or from the Jedi archives or whatever. And I thought, well, what would be the treasure? And I thought, oh, it would be the clones. The clones were the treasure on Camino, right?
True.
Okay. I'm sure that's not what they were going for. So, but we got to make an episode out of this, right? It was
a little bit of irony that the clones were the ones that were hidden, and now they're the ones saying, and that they didn't exist, and now they're the ones looking for something that doesn't exist.
No, good point. That's even a better talking point than I had. She seems to be cut from the same cloth as what's her name? I already forgot her dang name. Trandoshan lady.
Sid,
yeah, because she called. I got a chuckle when she called him Quick Draw, Clone Obvious. Later on, she calls Hunter Bandana.
Right.
So I don't know if like they're together in the ladies' room and they're writing these down or something, and she's giving her tips on what to call these guys. But I did get a kick out of that. And then your boys were back. You didn't think we were going to see Bolo and Ketch again, but we did.
I didn't. That's super exciting. Alfonso was back, man.
Alfonso, that's right. I couldn't remember the name, and I was thinking, I know the show where it's from, the reference, but I just couldn't remember the dang stinking character's name. You have to go back and watch or listen to all of the episodes that we did for season 1 to really get that reference, okay? Because we're not going to explain it here.
Yeah, Robot Chicken, that's it. Go look.
Robot Chicken. You gave it away. Okay, so...
Well, I didn't want them to go on a wild goose chase.
No, we need the downloads, dude. And then we finally got that scene where she goes, "It could be fun." So we finally got that out of the way.
I think that's her secret. That's her secret superpower, man.
Yeah,
is that she's just going to say that every episode. It could be fun.
Now, in all seriousness, I did enjoy like Hunter in this episode was very interesting. Like when you watch his, the way he, I guess his just body posture, right, and what he's doing throughout this episode. But I found it interesting though when she said that it could be fun, he actually turns to Echo and looks at Echo, and I like the respect there. Like of all the people, like it's Hunter and Echo, and it doesn't seem like Hunter's going to make decisions now without Echo's kind of guidance and making sure it's okay with him too. I think he acknowledges that this guy's been here around a while. He doesn't really do that with the other guys. It's kind of like he just calls the shots, but.
Well, Echo's usually the one with the problem too, so.
Yeah, he's exactly right.
I think even Echo knew. He's like, man, we got nothing going on. We might as well do something.
Yep. It's a lot like us. You're kind of the Echo of the group. So, like you keep me grumpy and you keep me in check. So yeah, I'm kidding. That's a total joke.
It's not really boding well for my right arm, I guess. But.
All right, so they decide to go with this crazy plan because, like you said, they got nothing else going on, so we might as well. So they get to the planet, and here's where I want to get to like the first question. Like, this Sentinel droid, and we'll just kind of skip to that whole piece. I don't need to know, but then I need to know. It's one of those things again with maybe it's just me, but like I really am like stuck on. I mean, it was all awesome, like all inspiring and visually entertaining and all that when that thing came to life. But then I started really trying to think about like, what is the purpose of this mecha droid, this ancient droid that was created? Because it seems like its purpose in life was to literally just scorch this planet nonstop. So what is it about the planet that it was trying to keep in check or keep dead? Or think we'll ever find out? I don't think we will, but I don't
think so either. Or was it just dropped there? Again, I kind of think this was just like a Monster of the
Hmm.
Week type of episode, and again, a bit of an homage to what they did in Clone Wars, and just for, I mean, a bit of a, I don't really know. I can't figure out what it was. I mean, that the planet was scorched and just decimated makes some amount of sense. You know, either to defeat it the last time. Part of me is like, well, how did they get it just to lay dormant? That doesn't make any sense unless it destroyed everything and then just went to sleep because it got bored or what. But there's a lot of questions there, I suppose.
Yeah.
When you unearth something that's just laying there and the trigger is to, you know, take the key out or take the heart out, and then the way to kill it is to just put it back in place.
Mm-hmm.
There's a slight disconnect there in the storyline. That was a little bit wobbly, but yeah, whatever.
Well, and that's part of the intrigue of it all, right? I mean, the guy just could have been making stuff up and really wasn't thinking about anything more than just interesting things, right? And talking about Christopher Yost, but yeah, I don't know. I'll probably be losing at least another 2 nights of sleep over this thing and why it is what it is. And then the compass, like the compass came to life or was activated when they got to the planet. So therefore, you would think the compass wanted the droid to be activated. So something wanted it to be working and destroying. I actually like your theory. Maybe they just dropped it here and said, "Man, this thing just keeps blowing up everything at the house." So I don't know, go dump it on that planet over there and just let it go, wild. But I do wonder if it's more than that.
Yeah, I do like that it was trying to get back home, basically. And it wasn't trying to lead, it wasn't like someone, I mean, you could clearly say that someone had that and they took it away in order
Mhm.
to, I don't know if that disables it, but at least not to find it. And it just ended up. Now, why you would leave it in a glove compartment, I don't know. I mean, this is like when parents don't hide things from their kids very well, you know, but it's still, it's still just an idea of why don't you just destroy the thing unless it's not able to be destroyed. But I like the idea of the compass. Again, it's the MacGuffin, right? It's just you got this object that you're either trying to pursue or that you have that leads you to adventure. It leads you to something fun, and you don't know. And I thought the way they did it too, with the lights and and it just the lesson like it's been reclaimed, by Skull and Null, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, and Omega just ate it up. She's like,
Oh
wow,
yeah.
it was reclaimed. So it's just, again, it's fun. It's just something to get the adventure going, and this pursuit of something that wasn't, I don't know, monsters every 5 seconds. I mean, there was a monster inside, of course.
Yep.
Wasn't I don't think that was a defender of the place or anything like that. I think it was just a
No.
wayward creature of sorts. But
I have a really important question when we get to that piece, though.
okay,
And by important, I mean again trivial.
it's gonna be ridiculous. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. Okay, so from there, she also makes mention of the ancients, and that this was eventually older than the Republic. So that's a really long time because the Republic was first established back in. I mean, it was going to legend stuff, but I mean, back during the Old Republic. So tens and tens of thousands of years, the Republic's been around.
Right, but they don't predate the Jedi, right? Because she was before the Jedi as well.
So I guess I guess it depends on what you consider the Jedi. The Jedi as we know them today, yes. The Jedi that were the JDA
With the apostrophes.
JED apostrophe AIs, no. Those were around, like the dawn of time kind of thing.
I went back
So-
and watched the subtitles. I was like, oh, I wonder if they spelled it like that.
Oh, did they? I didn't even check.
No, they
that.
did not.
Oh, all right. But no, I mean, I think it makes sense that somebody like the clones would think the oldest thing would be the Jedi, right? And they don't really have a sense of like just how old this galaxy really is, right? So for
Well,
them,
when you
that
think
would be pretty
ancients
old.
too, you think ancient beings, or someone that's just been a stalwart in the galaxy for for seemingly ever, and they were peace and protectors. So it kind of makes sense that they would make that connection that they would be the oldest standing group in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
But it is curious though, whoever the ancients really are. That's usually
Yeah.
some sort of deity, and some sort of mythological figure in some ways, which would
Yeah.
fit the Jedi in many ways. Which is why I think it kind of made sense for him to ask that.
There's also, this is where the music really kind of started kicking off.
Yeah.
In fact, in that one moment when she says, and we're going to liberate it, meaning the heart of the mountain, or was it the heart of the mountain? What's it called?
Yes.
Yeah, they keyed up that music, and this comes back a little bit later, especially when they're in the next one, what I call the escape room with the booby traps. Booby traps. That's what I said. Booby traps. That's a Goonies reference, by the way.
Right.
So there's a moment in there when that music kicks off, and it's like you said, it might as well have been John Williams.
Right.
Kevin Kiner took almost whole blocks of the thing right out of, and if anybody's wondering, it's so if you go pull up the Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack, track 11 is called The Map Room Dawn. That's
The
one of the
map room.
ones, which is the one that really stuck out. And then the other one where it kind of dips in a little bit, and they're very similar because that's track 21, which is The Miracle of the Ark, which is the very last sequence with the Ark goes up. Ricotta is a good one for the ancients. Thanks, Gary. That's more SWTOR stuff there, Old Republic. But yeah, those two tracks, if you go listen to them, holy bananas, it's like right out of it.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, okay, if I'm a kid watching this for the first time, I mean, that music does something to you. It swells and it's very mysterious and kind of eerie. And, it's got all that stuff I said earlier. What else we got here? So we get to the heart of the mountain. Okay, so let's talk about the beast. So the beast shows up, and the first thing I thought is like, what does it eat? Like, what's it eating? There's nothing alive on this planet.
Nothing on that planet had to get that big. Evolution doesn't work this way.
Exactly. Yep. All right.
The end. I mean, that's about it.
Well, so the question, I think, in all seriousness, I think I like the fact that it showed up. You could poke holes in why it's there and what its purpose was, but really, I mean, it was kind of a plot device, I think, more than anything, because it gave us the trope. We had the trope of, oh, they got separated, which we've seen a billion times, but again, it's a kid show and this all new to them, right? So I enjoyed that. And then it gave us another dimension, right? There was another level of danger or risk that was happening because you had this beast that was roaming around. So not only were you worrying about everything else that was going on, the booby traps and the risk and all that stuff, then you got you got some group that's being hunted by this beast. And so it was just kind of all swirling into this really cool, fun adventure, right?
Right. And the only part that I didn't really enjoy about them getting separated was that they just took this tunnel and there was no risk at all. They just kind of showed up and, hey guys, we're here.
Yeah. They should have just went with them, right?
Right. Yeah. They didn't need to turn the world upside down or anything else. They didn't need to go in and do any more puzzles. It was fine. Just follow the whole.
Well, and the way I rationalized it was, okay, when that cave-in happened, maybe it opened up an area that wasn't previously open. So
I did the same. I explained it away. I Star Wars it away.
It's mental gymnastics, but you'll get there. And again, we really shouldn't be focusing on these things, but we do.
That's why you're here, actually.
We made an entire podcast on it. Let's see. So we get to the tunnel puzzle now. This is like right out of the Last Crusade, where he's got to jump on the stones, right, with all the different symbols and all that. I thought it was interesting though, because Hunter, like, this was a real, like, nearly almost died. He would have. I don't know. Maybe it was only 4 feet down. I would imagine it was more than 4. But had he not thrown his little grappling hook up there and they saved his life, and of course she returns the favor a little bit later and saves his life, that kind of thing. But I thought it was. He seemed pretty stoic about it after he got back up. Like, yeah, no big deal.
A little bit. He warmed up to her a little bit after that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was kind of a turning point for him.
Yeah, I was looking though, because I was like, man, the grappling hook, the stones were raised and there were grooves and everything else. Like, man, surely it was gonna grab something, and why she needed to grab it. But I looked and like, no, it wasn't grabbing anything as it went by for whatever reason.
No. I mean, it was kind of a Hail Mary. You throw it up there and hopefully it'll impale her or catch something. There is the other line. She says, or Hunter says, "You're making this up as you go," and that's directly from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they're sitting there and
I don't
Sala,
know.
I think, asked him,
making this up as I go.
And he's like, "I don't know, I'm making this up as I go," and jumps on the horse. That whole sequence. So it was a nice callback there on that one. She drops the bandana comment or reference there as well. And then Omega, this is where she loses the compass, and that Scala Null has reclaimed it. Right. I was thinking of like the Goonies. There's a scene in the Goonies too where they've got a key. There's actually moments of this too that were closer to Goonies than maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I think it was a culmination of a lot of those. I know Becca from Tarkin's Top Shelf, she had mentioned that there was a lot of Jedi Fallen Order, some of the sequences in here as well, like puzzles and stuff like that. So I think it's just
it's like every video game though, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. You could throw in Tomb Raider or some of these other ones just like that. And
I mean, Goonies and Raiders, I mean, a product of within a couple of years of one another, right? They were right around the same time, that 1981 range.
Yeah, Goonies is a little bit later, but
it had it captured the same spirit though, yeah.
Yeah, and Spielberg was the executive producer on that show.
Right.
So with the story that he helped contribute to.
Yeah, it was like Indiana Jones for kids, or with kids.
With kids, yep. We finally get to the heart of the mountain, and she was talking about, like, I'm thinking, like, who's going to buy this thing if they did? I don't
Anybody,
know.
I guess.
Luthen Rail. I don't know how old he is. He's probably like 15, but maybe
Maybe the Empire could power the Death Star with it. You don't know.
that'd be cool. This is the kind of stuff that I really like, though, because there's so many questions. This is very intriguing. There's so many things that they threw at us in this episode they don't explain that I got a lot of questions over, but, we'll never know. And then this whole thing kind of comes to life finally. And it was just really cool, like the spectacle of it coming to life, how slow it was moving, how menacing it was. It was massive. I thought the explosions.
What'd you think of the effect? Like when the blue lit up, like the particle effects in this episode, like across the board, were really good.
Yeah.
But it was something about that. It seemed very 80s movie like effect.
Oh, really?
Almost.
I didn't catch that. I wonder
just
if
the way
did
that it
on
like
purpose.
came to life, and it just had this very surreal kind of look to it. But it really reminded me of like Last Crusade, or I'm sorry, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, and that type of. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was obviously all 100% CGI, but I mean,
Sure.
It just recalled. It just still captured the themes of that so well, and it didn't seem. It was very Star Warsy, but it also had this kind of depth to it a little bit that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if I could see them totally doing that, right? Going to like that 2D colored art, layover.
It was very much
film.
like a Carousel, like art cell where they do layers, but they have distance between the layers. It really felt like it had a lot more depth than it should. But if whoever's listening to this, go rewatch that and just see if you catch any of that type. If you get that kind of vibe as well.
Yeah. We get the Zillo Beast back. I know it's not a Zillo Beast, but
it was effectively a Zillo Beast. Yeah.
Effectively, it was a Zillo Beast. We get Fee's death, and she's hanging there, and Hunter kind of saves her, returning the favor. What he does say there is, "Come on, we're not out of this yet." That was Han Solo. Yeah, in episode 4, saying that to Luke. And then I screamed, "Mel's dead!" Like when they shot I was like, "Oh my god, they killed that droid!" And of course, I got over it.
Kind of thing.
Lauren backed me up. That was sad. What?
Kind of thing happens all the time.
Right. So here, I don't know how many people watched Super Mario or played Super Mario 64, but if you did, when you fought Bowser at the very end, or a number of the creatures in there, the way you would beat him is you'd go around his back, grab his tail, spin him around, and then shoot him, off the thing or whatever, and he'd say, "So long, Bowser," or that kind of thing. That's exactly what I was thinking here when he did it. But no, in all seriousness, I did think that, and I actually thought it was kind of cool. However, I did like the fact that Omega had a role in this, right? She had to shoot the glass or whatever, and she did that, and she was actually pretty good with the bow in this one. Like they're making her.
Oh, dude, she's a true shot. She was like this in episode 1 too.
Yeah,
I mean her aim is true.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was good. I really enjoyed that. And then they stick the thing back in there, and then it melts, which I'm like, okay, so why did it melt? But then the droid's down at this point.
Yeah, this was one of those. All right, we got to finish this episode up, or we're getting on 20 minutes here.
Right, budgets. We're out of money. Cut it. Got to start cutting it. I did like that, but this puts us at 0-2 with treasure hunting, even with the professional. He's a deadpan man. Like Tech's humor is just so perfect and spot on.
I was so waiting for him to actually do finger quotes, but he just kind of
for the professional piece, or
for the professional, even with a professional.
Yep, like a George or George. Rest in peace, Mel. He's alive. He'll come back, right? Because he's got a backup. Always back up your stuff, man.
That's right.
It's a good practice. This is we get to. I guess that brings us really to the end of it, where. We get this reference of, what is it, the Vadnai and the Kingdom of Elways and the Chalice, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the Chalice was a little on the nose.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, how more Last Crusade could you get?
Right. It's really it. I mean, and then they, I don't know if they actually go to that one. Maybe they do. Like nobody seemed to be protesting, so maybe they did at least make a run for it, because, again, what else have they got going on?
Right, yeah, go into Vadnai, right?
Yeah, I didn't look that up to see if that was even if that existed. A lot of these references in this one are all either new to me or have never, like, I don't know about them, or they're all brand new. I would imagine a lot of these are brand new type stuff.
I would imagine,
which makes it all the more intriguing too, right? They're not name dropping. Oh, we're going to Ord Mantell, or we're going to, insert known planet here.
Right.
So it speaks to the expansiveness of the galaxy itself.
All right, Albert. So tell me, What was the purpose of this episode then?
I really think it was about Omega. I think it was about planting that seed in Omega for something later on. Whether that manifests or grows or matures into something this season or even next season, I don't know. But the idea that someone is that enthralled and fascinated with a character like Fee, these are very formative years for somebody like Omega, right? She's like you said, I think said it well. She's going to be influenced. She's looking up to different people, and plus, she doesn't have like a motherly figure in her life right now. She's got, like you said, her dad and her brothers, and you've got somebody like Fee who, they're all kind of looking at skeptically, and they don't really. It's hard to even think about trusting her right now because she's just another pirate. But at the same time, you got somebody like her, Omega, who's just wide open, and she wants to believe all this stuff, and she wants to, I think she wants to do this at some point. Again, it could turn into something. It could sprout into something else. I saw some people talking in the comments here about how this is kind of a Dr. Aphra kind of thing. There's definitely Dr. Aphra vibes because archaeologist type stuff. But it could turn into her wanting to be a pirate. I mean, think about it. We don't know where Omega is, and this continues to be the ultimate question. I think in this series is like we have this character that is so beloved. We have a character that Dave Filoni seems to love as much as he did any of the other characters, including Ahsoka. He's putting so much into her story, and her origin is really what we're seeing here. So you got to think that he wouldn't just kill her off when she's like 10 years old or 18 years old, right?
Right.
She lived on to do something. And if she did live on to do something, it probably wasn't with the Republic. Otherwise, she would have popped up. Probably not with the New Republic. So what was she doing? Maybe the life of a pirate. Maybe the life of an archaeologist where, yeah, the galaxy's terrible and there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but I'm not really that freedom fighter, and that's not really me. This is where my passion is. And, maybe she's one of Luthen Vale's or Luthen Rail's kind of people going out and capturing all this stuff and bringing it to him. There you go. I just tied it right back into Andor. But I think that was the purpose. Yeah. I mean, I think that was the purpose. I think it was really just to kind of show, one, it was to showcase who Fee was, right? Because we didn't know anything about her other than she was a minor character that popped on screen the first 2 episodes. At some point, guys, we were going to get some kind of a background because she's probably going to play a bigger part here later in the season. And the more we know about these characters, the more that holds weight for us a little bit later. And I'm not saying she's dying or anything, but the stakes are higher now because we know who she is and we know that Omega looks up to her, right? There's that relationship they have now. I think those are the 2 primary pieces.
I'm right there with you. I think it was very much introduction to Fee. Here's who she is. She's fun. Again, they don't necessarily trust her because she's a little, I don't know, subscribes a little bit to just go with the flow and chaos and laughing things off than when you're really in serious, dire danger a lot of times. But again, comes with the territory. And then again, like you said, like we talked about at the beginning of the show as well, just development for Omega, small bits of development, giving her a chance to stretch out, look at different people, take different things on, start to form her own opinion, gravitate to people that aren't her family, and start to branch out. Because what that'll eventually do, that'll eventually cause more conflict within the family, presumably. That's usually how it is with adolescents, and your kids get to being preteen and teens, right? And they start getting influenced by the people else, their friends and the people around them, their hobbies, and that starts to create a lot of dissonance. They start to get more exposure to things. And so, again, it's just part of Omega's development. I think you said it really well. This is just more for her to grab onto and help us throughout the season. And that it was within the context of just a fun homage of an episode, I'm actually pretty okay with. Like this, to me, this wasn't necessarily the same type of, quote unquote filler episode that we got in the first season. When we got the first season, there were some episodes that were like, okay, they're telling us we're on a mission, but really it just kind of feels like we're jumping place to place. And I think you could argue a little bit more of that. But with these episodes, I think you're seeing a little bit more to it, even though it might not be super detailed or super deep at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just little trickling. It feels like they have a much better plan for this season already, even though we're not getting to the hard-hitting, serious stuff like we did with Crosshair and Cody, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're going to get there. And I think, again, we have a lot of episodes to be able to do this. We know we're going to have some that, some people aren't going to like as much. But I thought this was just super fun. I mean, it's been maybe it's a little bit on the nose because we've had so many Indiana Jones references this season already. It feels like they were like, you know what? This year, it's all about Indy. He's got a movie coming out. We're going to
Yeah.
make sure everybody knows it, even if we're going to do it in a very subtle way, or in maybe a not so subtle way.
Yeah.
But I think it's fun to have these types of things, and there's nothing wrong with it from time to time. And again, we'll see what next episode brings. The next episode we have is Tribe, which again, I think is going to shift us back a bit more towards what we had with the what was it, the Solitary Clone?
Solitary Clone. Yeah.
Solitary Clone. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. My guess is yeah. I would say it's hard to tell. I was putting a lot of thought into what tribe could mean. Whether they're talking about tribe as in their close group or the Bad Batch as they are today.
We're going to Tatooine.
Please,
We're not going to
no.
Tatooine.
We don't want to go to Tatooine. But it could be that for sure, though. And we keep bringing this up. But the Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences back to back coming up on Wednesday, February 8th.
Yeah, it's just
that one is.
away.
That's the thing. Like people are, you just chill out. You guys you're not paying attention. These 16 episode series, 24 episode series. You get a couple of these, and then we get back to the main stuff, and then we break away for a little bit, and then we come back. It's just the formula, right? Yeah. If they paired out all of that stuff, and all you wanted was just kind of like the main story mythos type stuff of what's going on with the Empire and Omega and all that, then we'd be down to 6-8 episodes, and we'd be done, and we'd be over with. But don't like it, stop watching these episodes.
This is the thing, like with Clone Wars. If you go watch it and someone comes to you and says, Albert, what am I going to do with Clone Wars? And you're going to well, here's a website. Here's my essential Clone War arcs.
Exactly.
It's not 7 seasons of Clone Wars.
It's not.
But that doesn't mean that they weren't good episodes or entertaining, right? And I think we're in this mode right now. It seems like everything has to be this really hard-hitting and powerful, story every single time in 22 minutes. And I'm a little baffled by that. I'm a little baffled by that. I mean, well, what's the reason?
So, and this is strictly my opinion.
Sure.
I think the reason is just this onset of on-demand, high production value television that's only 8 episodes long, right? Look at The Last of Us. Amazing show. I've already watched the first 2 that have come out, but it's only like 9 episodes. And don't get me wrong, it's a video game. They've compressed a lot of stuff. Right. But you look at that, you look at like the Lord of the Rings series that came out, right? Any number of series that have recently, the Game of Thrones one that came out, they've condensed these things down, and they're really just kind of throwing the red meat constantly. And people argue that not every episode's like that too, and I get that, right? But they really are trying to cater to these smaller production. They're not dragging this out for 16 episodes and driving the production cost to millions and millions of dollars. They're giving you this very condensed, just the facts kind of storytelling. And I think a lot of people like it. And I do too. I appreciate it. I do like that a lot. But I think what this is a throwback to some of the Clone Wars stuff, or a lot of the television that we grew up prior to that age, which was really only about, honestly, 3-4 years ago, if you think about it.
It wasn't that long ago.
No. And so, yeah, it's a different kind of take. It's the same thing that happened with Netflix, right? There used to be a time when, and I'm going to sound like an old curmudgeon on a soapbox here, but there used to be a time when we would sit there and watch television and wait week after week for the episodes. And we've talked about this on the show before.
It was truly episodic at that time.
It was episodic. And you'd have the water talk, and everybody was talking about it. You record on your VCR, watch it back a few times, and then you were anticipating the next episode to come out. And now it's like the day and age of I'll just binge watch it, or I'm not going to watch that series until it's finished, and then I'll go back and watch the whole thing, right? All of that, I think, plays into this. And I think what people are expecting is we should have 16 episodes of hardcore empire building, clone destroying, Omega Bad Batch type stuff all day, every day. And there should be nothing else happening, which is just completely unrealistic because that's just not the storytelling that we're getting here.
I mean, I would love that. There's a part of me that's also like, man, that's exhausting. This is why I stopped watching Game of Thrones, about, I don't know how many seasons in. I was like, I'm just exhausted watching the show. I mean, seriously, too many people are dying. I can't keep up with it. I didn't read the book, so I was lost anyway. Or I wasn't lost, but I was consuming it kind of in the moment, right?
Yeah.
But it was just a lot. I mean, and I'm okay with some mental breaks. Now, we could argue, are they happening too frequently? We can have some opinions there, and that's fine. I'm not discounting anybody's perspective on that, of course. But again, it's something that you got a 16-episode season. It's okay to take a breather because we're going to get back into the stuff that you're really wanting to consume from the key story aspect. But this is all part of the story. It's all getting us there.
Mhm.
And even if there's small little tidbits, there's little things that still build on these characters that will have some influence on them. It might not be some giant payoff, but some influence on them where you're going to go back and look and say, look at this. We've been telling you this since episode 1. And remember, we've seen this here, here, and here with Omega or whatever it is, or with a character like Tech or with Echo.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the things we're going to go back and look, and you and I are going to go back and pick those moments out and say, these are the things that we were looking at the whole time we were telling you about to kind of keep an eye on.
Yep.
And again, each one's going to have their own spotlight, so it's going to be a little bit different each time. But I mean, this was just fun, And again, we're going to get back into, I think, the more serious stuff here with Tribe, because with Truth and Consequences and some of that, those episodes coming the week after,
It's gonna be heavy.
This is going to be a setup episode to start bringing things down, presumably.
Yeah.
Right. So we know we're going to have these ups and downs and these troughs and whatnot. Now it's time to build things up. Hey, we're going to probably be a nice, strong family. Maybe a little bit of things rubbing the wrong way, and then something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so if that's what you're waiting for, I think you're about to get exactly what you wanted. And I think this next episode is going to kind of be back in that wheelhouse of what you're looking for. Again, we haven't seen these like some people have, so we don't know. We're just speculating based on what we see and kind of the progression of the episode titles, general impressions we kind of get, but it certainly feels that way. And again, these are pretty typical, ways that arcs work within TV series. So we have a reasonable amount of confidence that some of these things will be will be reasonably accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that natural ebb and flow and
Exactly.
the rise and fall of storytelling. So you're going to have it multiple times in 16 episodes as opposed to 8 or 6 or whatever.
I mean, before you know, we're going to be halfway through. I mean, we are with 2 episodes coming in a couple weeks. I mean, we're halfway through already. So, I mean, this thing is going to be building steam and momentum. We're going to need a little bit of a breather at times. And I think that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just based on the titles of the episodes ahead, none of these look like Monster of the Weeks. I mean, it could be completely wrong, but you could infer quite a bit in here that seems very, very much aligned with that main story in some way.
I mean, again, with a title like Entombed, I mean, I don't get anything right. Let's just throw it out there. I get 0 right, or I get very little right. And even I called this one. So it wasn't a surprise, right? I mean, we knew, and we saw it in the trailer. We knew we were going to get them out. We knew we were getting the Zilla Beast.
Right.
I didn't really particularly care for the Zilla Beast episodes. In this one, I probably could have done without the Zilla Beast part of it, and the rest of it would have been fine. But it didn't take away from my enjoyment of it.
Yep. And we'll have that. We'll have to, when we do like the final hype shows, we'll have the Razor Crest moment, and then we'll have the Zilla Beast moment in honor of you getting this one right.
Right, yeah. Jonesy, what's one thing you think you might get right this season?
Obvious thing that you think is going to happen in this episode?
I would get it wrong. It just...
Oh my goodness.
Omega's coming back, and then next day later, no, Omega's not in this series. She's getting her own. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Spinoff series. All right. Well, again, good episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it, to be honest. I really, really did, because of all the Raiders stuff, and just it felt like being a kid again. So, but again, it's not really... Show's not really made for us. It's made for younger audiences. We just happen to enjoy it, and there's some little nuggets in here for us from time to time to kind of pull at and pick at and play with. So
I was impressed with just how well they captured that spirit with the music. Yeah. When the music was playing, you're like, holy crap, I do feel like I'm watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of fun. I mean, they just captured it so well within Star Wars. I was like, heck yeah, I'm all right with this.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we teased up Tribe, so that'll be the next episode. And then we've got, again, this Sunday, we've got the top 3 moments of Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. We're doing this in anticipation of season 3 starting here February or March 1st, I think.
We are about 30 days out, believe it or not. I guess with the short month of February, we're right at 30 days here.
So it's time to get on the hype wagon of the Mandalorian. We'll start with that. So
visit over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell and get all the things. We had some awesome chat tonight, so we'll run through some of our shout-outs here. Jonathan, Stephanie, JJ Skywalker, Risk, Bayless, Lauren, Dale, Qui-Gon Sky, Music Train, Rob, The Dale Man, not to be confused with Dale, Jorge, Gary, and J-Dubs was out there. So, Jeff, thanks for coming out as well. And again, Jedi Marvel Archive out on the YouTube channel as well. Lauren's got Shadowhunter, the Darth Maul legend story. Great story. She did a fantastic job. Go check that out. Let her know how much you love it. She's had a lot of great comments already. I think she's also asking you for your feedback on which Legends books to maybe prioritize as well. I know I've already put mine in there. I have some sway, so I'm going to get my way. And I'm not going to keep rhyming because that's lame. Anyway, but I did it anyway. But anyway, so go out there and tell her which books you were interested in. I think someone already threw out the Darth Bane trilogy and some others. Of course, Republic Commando is always one of my favorites.
I was trying to grab the Darth Bane trilogy, but I'm sorry.
Yep. So I think, someone made that comment, and I think she's heard that one loud and clear as well. So go check it out. Yeah, there's the Revan book. Good stuff. Drew Capture. It was Carpershen, right?
Yeah, Drew.
Yep.
Mr. Drew, who did those.
Yep, fantastic series.
Has she read Revenge of the Sith, the novelization?
I don't know. May have to.
Lauren, if you're in the chat still, if you've not fallen asleep. She admitted that she falls asleep sometimes and just lets this thing play even after we've already ended the show. So it could be that she's passed out. But if you have not, and you're still within the sound of my voice, get a chance, go read Revenge of the Sith. Because I would like to see somebody actually do that one, because there's so much in there that's not in the movie that's like amazing.
And it's still considered like the gold standard when it comes to novelizations of the movies and what you can really do to enhance. Although I think things like Last Jedi did a good job of that too. Maybe not better than Revenge of the Sith, but the Last Jedi book actually did really well. Rise of Skywalker gave Ben Solo some dialogue, so that was something.
Here we go. I wasn't going to say because I knew I was just like setting you up for a spike, but I had to at least mention it. Yeah.
But anyway, go check out Jedi Archive. She's got Yoda coming out here shortly as well. Good series, 3 issues. She's going to cover them all. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yep. And we just confirmed, we're just getting word, yes, she has indeed passed out. So with that, we're going to end the show.
Good night, sweet princess.
We'll see you guys here in just a few more days.
You're still listening? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.